Oh,
Oh, sorry. There's about 1 cup left, I think.
Should we flip for it?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, guys, we're gonna flip for it. Julie, you're the host. You get to call it. Call it in the air.
Head, tails.
Okay, you called heads. The coin is tails.
No, I said tails.
Mike gets the coffee.
No,
Nope.
I said tails. I
Is
said
there any
tails.
decaf left?
Decaf.
Ugh, you
Ugh.
animals.
Ugh.
Enjoy it.
Ugh, I got dressed up for decaf? Thank you. Let's do it.
That's staying in. Hey everyone, hope you're having an awesome day. Welcome on in to Call It a Night, the sports show that likes to cross the line. I'm your host, Julie Stewart-Binks, and today we are lucky to be joined by New York-based comedian and sports fan, host of the Hoops podcast, Pod Don't Lie, Sam Morril. Sam, thank you so much for joining us here today. And I know you're also a big Knicks fan.
I am.
And
it's rough.
what, in one word or less, how would you describe the Knicks season?
Bad.
That's
Sorry, I'm not
very
more
accurate.
creative. I just saw Steve Mills held a press conference where he's like, "We thought we'd be better." I'm like, "Really? Did you not see the roster that you put together?" Yeah, I'm a fan no matter what. But like when Marcus Morris is your best scorer and he was like the 7th guy on the Celtics last year.
Yeah, no.
I love Marcus Morris. I love his intensity, but you need an all-star, and I think they thought they had that in Julius Randle, and he's playing hardly.
No way. They couldn't possibly have thought they had that.
I thought he was
Julius Randle.
maybe an all-star. I think R.J. Barrett's going to be a great player.
Maple Mamba,
so.
baby. Canadian content, always. We're going to dive into more Knicks talk
Yeah.
and NBA goodness with Sam later on in the show, as well as find out what it's like to be a super rich and famous comedian. But first, you saw comedian Chris DiStefano rip apart my jokes last week. Now let's have another comedian step up to the plate and watch me bleed to death on live TV with tonight's headlines. On Sunday at the Knicks-Cavs game, security at MSG confronted a man who was chanting, "Fire Dolan." After the game, Coach David Fizdale said, "I'm the coach, I can say whatever I want."
Wow. Yeah, he's not going to be there long. I'm gonna miss Fizz. I like him.
No, he
but...
shouldn't be getting the blame. Okay, we'll talk about that later.
All right.
The Seattle Sounders defeated Toronto FC Sunday to win their 2nd MLS Cup. Upon hearing there was a new cup in Seattle, Fox News impulsively screamed, "Why doesn't it say Merry Christmas?"
Oh, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I know, right?
That one took me a
A
second.
big
Yeah.
happy holiday, Merry Christmas whole debacle. All right, this weekend it was the Jets versus the Giants, or as it's called on NBC, The Biggest Loser.
I didn't know that show was still on the air.
I think it's in NFL form now,
all right.
After the 2-7 New York Jets beat the 2-8 New York Giants, Jets running back Le'Veon Bell said, "All wins are not pretty." Hey, as far as the Jets go, are any of them? Maybe like against the Cowboys, though.
They shouldn't have to play each other, the Giants and Jets. They should just look each other in the eye for like a while and be like, "This is."
Or like the
2-8?
loser has to pack up and leave, like.
Yeah, but my
Bachelor.
friends were like, "Did you watch the game?" I was like, "Why would I watch?" Like, I'm a Giants fan, but like, I'm not watching right now.
But it's like masochism. You're like, you want to see like how bad it can get.
I don't, because it's like Eli is like some woman that like is like bedside and is dying, and then you're just dating the new woman in front of her, and that's not going well, and you're like, well, why do I want to be a part of any of this? Like, I'm just gonna sit this season out.
That's a very fair analogy. Speaking of the Giants, some good news for New York. Quarterback Daniel Jones did have one flawless connection in the game. The bad news is it was a handoff to Jamal Adams. That was actually a beautiful play from Adams. After the game, Jets quarterback Sam Darnold addressed the media saying, quote, "If we get on a roll here and we win out, we've got a chance at the playoffs." Darnold seeing ghosts, he thinks the Jets can win out and make the playoffs. 2 words, Sam, concussion protocol. CTE City. According to numerous sources, when Rob Gronkowski announced his retirement, Patriots owner Robert Kraft made it clear to Gronk that he wants him to come back for the playoffs. The team could really use Gronkowski as they've been struggling in the red zone. Not to be confused with Kraft, who's been struggling in the red light zone.
Yes, I knew that was gonna be a
Yeah.
Just want to see how we got there.
Right? See it a mile away. I think he actually probably does pretty well in the red light zone, allegedly. Miami Heat guard Dion Waiters was suspended 10 games after having a panic attack on the team plane that he blamed on a THC-infused edible. The suspension will likely cost him a $1.2 million games played bonus, or as Bill Walton puts it, about a week's worth of blunts.
He's not even like he's suspended for gummy. I mean, I don't know. Can you imagine if Riley was still the coach of the Heat?
Yeah, I know.
He's like, Magic came back from AIDS. You can't come back. You can't come back from a weed gummy.
Also, it sounds like literally a nightmare, waking up on a plane just like totally high out of your mind, panic attack.
It's a nightmare.
In front of all
But
your
he said he did it
coworkers.
because he had an upset stomach, and I was like, just what are you doing?
Yeah.
You just take some Pepto-Bismol.
Yeah.
You don't overdose.
After defeating Alabama in Tuscaloosa, LSU players gestured to the Alabama recruitment section to join their team instead. In their pitch, the players asked, why play for a state that's 50th in education when you can be 48th? Excellent. A lot of huge upsets around the NFL. The Saints got killed by the Falcons. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs were outplayed and beaten by Ryan Tannehill and the Titans. And finally, the Cleveland Browns defeated the Buffalo Bills. I haven't seen this many shocked faces since the end of The Sixth Sense. We're a big Sixth Sense show here,
Yeah,
okay?
whoever wrote that joke is in their 50s, at least.
Yeah, actually,
That's an old rep.
the guy who wrote that joke, I'm pretty sure is in his 50s.
Yeah, as you can I mean, The Sixth Sense. I mean,
What would be a better movie? What do you think? A surprise ending now?
I mean, I was going to say The Crying Game, but that definitely aged me.
Okay, then
right?
you're.
That's even worse. I don't know. What's a good
What's a good
twist ending?
surprise twist ending movie? I like Shutter Island, but I just
that
answer
was
that
good.
to everything.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
one.
Get Out. Get Out.
Was that a twist, though?
Was that a twist? We saw that racism a mile away.
Yeah.
Later on that in the program. After a blowout loss at home to Cleveland on Sunday, New York Knicks president Steve Mills expressed his displeasure to the media, saying he's not happy, and at this point, 2-8 is not where he expected the Knicks to be. Me either. I expected them to be 1-9.
Yeah, that was rough. It's just like, why is he coming out? It's like, just stay in. Like you hold a press conference to be like, we're not good.
Yeah.
You don't do that. You just
I'm surprised we're not good. No, that means you're delusional.
That's him laying the groundwork to fire Fizdale.
Exactly. I mean, maybe another reason Mills isn't happy is because he's working for the Knicks.
Maybe Mills should take some of the credit. He signed Tim Hardaway Jr. to a $70-something million deal. When I got that news, I was looking at my...
We're going to talk more about that.
We'll get to that.
What a tease, what a tease. That's the headlines, baby.
All
Print it. Wow, we are having fun. And we're just getting going here on the program. Don't go anywhere. When we return, we're going to find out Sam Morril's hilarious takes on the Knicks' hilarious season.
I'm Ian Begley, and I had to call it a night.
Welcome back to Call It a Night. We've been telling jokes on all the latest sports headlines, and we've got comedian Sam Morril joining us today. We mentioned already you're a big NBA fan, host of Pod Don't Lie, Knicks fan, and you mentioned in our A block just the idea that Steve Mills came out, was sort of laying the groundwork internally at least to get rid of Dave Fizdale. What do you think of this move if they do get rid of the coach?
I mean, he's trying to say, like, we did a pretty good job putting together this roster of 8 power forwards. You should have done more with it. I don't like it. But at the same time, I think they don't have closers on this team because they're either role players or they're young. So he doesn't have a lot to work with, but at the same time, like, the Hornets are playing well. So the coach has got to take some of the blame.
Yeah, but it seems like he's been handcuffed in a way, though, because we just were saying, like, Dolan said, I didn't go after Kevin Durant or Irving or Kawhi. Like, you can't then get mad at the guy running your team if you didn't give him anything.
Yeah, I think he didn't go after Durant once he heard that Irving was going to the Nets. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, Durant is such a cupcake, by the way. What a puss.
He wouldn't have been able to last.
I mean, you're telling me this guy's an alpha, and he's like, where's Kyrie going? Like, you're not. Could you imagine if Jordan was like, where's Pippen gonna go? It's just such a look. Durant's one of the best players ever. I really believe that, but the fact that he just followed Kyrie's lead. You're the best player, you're the best scorer the game has maybe ever seen.
And to be fair, though, he might not necessarily be the same type of guy after he comes back from this Achilles. So
we'll see, but I still think he's the best player on that team. So to not be the leader is a little weird. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the move by Mills because it feels like I don't like public, executions, and that's what this feels like they're gearing up for. I like that stuff
keep it in the family, like
internal.
Deal with it on your own. Then now everyone's going to pile on. It makes it just this whole big shitstorm.
Yeah.
Before we move on to a couple other things, though, you said you're just this lifelong Knicks fan. Then
Sure.
the state right now. What's one thing? How would you describe it? And what's one thing you want to see going forward?
Well, it's an abusive relationship because I'm the way I talk about the Knicks, the way like I talk about a girl that's like just treats me horribly and like is gonna dump me. Like I have friends who like when I tell them like they'll be good this year, they're like, oh, you poor thing. They're like, you don't see it. You're like, we see it. So I mean, I always think they're gonna be better than they are. I always think best. I remember when the Knicks had like Eddie Curry, Zach Randolph, Quentin Richardson. I was like, biggest front court in the NBA. We're gonna figure it out. So I always believe, and that's part of being a fan is believing. And this year I really thought they'd be better than they were, just because, I thought Knox would take a step forward, which he has. I thought Mitch would, but he's been injured.
Yeah. Well, you got
RJ's been great. RJ gives me hope for
He's
the
been
future.
incredible.
Yeah.
And there was a lot more hope, at least, heading into the season, which has been quashed because of everything. But let's get into some more about you. You're a comedian. I know we've talked so much NBA, but you're a comedian, and you are working on a special right now.
Yeah.
Tell me just like how this process is going.
Oh man, it depends what city you're in, because you hit every market. You try to hone the material and make sure it's ready to go, and then you release it into the world. So. And
you also had a show, People Talking Sports, Emmy nominated on MSG.
Yeah.
We're doing sort of like from a sports angle, trying to bring in comedy. What's advice that you would give us in terms of like going into that space?
When I had that show, Steve Mills had a press conference. Like, we thought the show would be doing better. And, we put together a good roster, and that's how they let me go. Yeah, I miss doing the show sometimes because it was definitely a fun experience, but I'm a club comic. I love doing stand-up, so I don't know. Do you say advice for the show?
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. I would get a couple different writers for that monologue.
Oh, yeah, okay, all right.
But
that's fair.
Other than that, I think you're doing a great job.
We're only halfway through, all right. Your show got canceled, so why am I asking you advice? I'm joking. Great stuff.
All right.
The fun ain't stopping, folks. We've got to take a quick time out, but when we return, Sam and I will battle with our best captions. Stay tuned. Yeah, baby.
Hi, I'm Amani Toomer, and it's late. I'm gonna call it a night.
There you are. Welcome back to Call It a Night. I'm JSB, rocking and rolling with Sam Morril, comedian and host of the Hoops podcast. Pod Don't Lie. Seeing as you're a big basketball guy, Sam, and like sports fan, we thought that we'd play a little game of Caption Obvious. What another delightful graphic. We're gonna show different, somewhat ridiculous sports photos, and both of us will come up with a caption for each. Since we're both different weirdos in our own right, it should be pretty fun.
Let's
right?
do it, yeah.
Let's do it.
See what we got.
Okay, let's see the first picture. Ooh, look at this. It's like, this is Kevin Knox and Kevin Love. So we got bunch of these guys. Let's write down what we think the caption of this is. What do you see on this? This is a difficult game, but it looks like the ball is levitating in a way. They're kind of scared or something. No, I'm not really quite there yet. But Sam, maybe, I'm just gonna make this. I'm just gonna.
Do I hold it up?
Yeah, let's see. What do you got? Read it out loud.
The Knicks lost by over 20 at home. What the
That's great. I think that's like pretty accurate.
Is that solid?
I got a little like stressed under pressure. You know, I don't really perform, and I just said, I hate Ouija boards.
Ooh.
Like, I've been really thinking about Ouija boards, and that looks like some kind of magic.
Well, speaking of the dead, maybe you can contact the Knicks season.
Ooh. Bring it back.
It's hurting.
Some guys. Okay, let's go to the next one. Great. This is a lot of fun. Okay. What do we got here? We got PJ Tucker under the net, and Sherrod Allen is right there as well. So what do you got, Sam? Let's write. Let's take some time to write this down. I said this before the show, so I'm just reusing this. Yeah, this is... Okay, Sam,
All right.
What do you got for this?
How's that?
I think that's exactly what happened, actually. That is the caption. Great. Mine's less exciting, but Buzz, your girlfriend, woof! It's from Home Alone. One of my favorite movies. Okay, great. Moving on, let's go to the next picture, shall we? Oh, nice. Oh, here, Clyde Frazier, whose restaurant is right next door to our studio.
Good spot, man. Respect. One of the best ever.
All right, let's take some time to caption this photo. There's a lot going on in this photo right now. Great, hold on. This is awesome. Hope everyone's having a great day. Oh, you're changing it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, so am I. I'm gonna cheat off of you. Okay. Okay, awesome, great. Thank you guys so much for watching us. Okay. I'll see you at the bullfight.
His
Awesome.
pants. That's the joke in his pants.
That's great.
Looks like Matador pants.
They do look like Matador pants.
I can't go hard at Clyde. I like him too much.
Okay, I don't really have a whole lot, but I was paid $1 to hold this thing.
Oh, man.
He just doesn't really look like he knows what is going on there.
I love Walt too much to ever try. I remember I did an interview with him at MSG, and I was so excited. And I was like, oh my God, it's Walt Frazier. So I did all this, you know, I did all this preparation. I was asking him questions about being like a mixed race team in New York in the 60s. And I was so excited. And then they cut it to just being like, well, they're like, ask him about being a commentator. And they only cut it to be like, so what's it like using all those big words? I'm like, this is what you use? This is humiliating. I did work on this. It's like one of my heroes. I love Walt.
That's the power of TV, making us look like idiots. This is other people making us not look great. Awesome stuff. Thanks, Sam. Folks, don't go anywhere. We're not calling it a night yet. We'll be back after this with how I'm feeling about a certain grape. Cruising along here on Call It a Night, but before we do just that, my home and native land of Canada is back in the sports headlines, but not for the reasons I prefer, like winning NBA championships. So it's time for another edition of Binks Thinks. On Monday, longtime hockey broadcaster and former coach Don Cherry was fired from Sportsnet's Hockey Night in Canada after his divisive remarks on Coach's Corner about new Canadians. Cherry said that he's seeing fewer people wearing poppies to honor fallen Canadian soldiers, singling out those he believes are immigrants in Toronto and Mississauga, a city outside of Toronto. Now, there's a difference between saying people should honor veterans, which they should, and insinuating that immigrants are the problem, which they aren't. It's a false equivalency. It's inherently racist. But this statement in a vacuum isn't why Cherry got fired. This isn't an isolated incident. For years, Don Cherry has made offensive comments on air. To name a few, he's called out former enforcers who spoke out against fighting pukes and turncoats. He said those who wore visors and protective gear on the ice were wimps and usually European or French guys. And amongst other offensive comments, he said that female reporters shouldn't be allowed to interview players in the locker room, something that personally hurt me and my female colleagues as we fought to be treated as equals. I'm Canadian. I play hockey. I grew up watching Grapes on Hockey Night in Canada and became accustomed to his rants and his loud suits as if he was my own grandfather. But just because Don Cherry has been a staple of the longest running program in history doesn't mean he still belongs on it, especially as we evolve as a society where clearly he hasn't. Like with the Cleveland Indians logo or the Washington name, even when something has been known as a tradition, we have to be able to recognize and separate when it crosses the line and offends people for the way they look or where they come from. The issue isn't that he's conservative, it's that he's spreading rhetoric against entire groups of people and has been for far too long. No matter what side of the aisle you fall on politically, you shouldn't be preaching a message of hate and intolerance, which are the very pillars of which our veterans fought against and are rightly remembered for. What does Sportsnet do now? They have a huge opportunity to create a more inclusive broadcast. Perhaps they could start by adding more women and minorities to their broadcast that know and cover the sport of hockey, the very people who for many years have been the target of Cherry's ignorant comments. And that's today's Binks Thinks. So a little food for thought at the end of
This is the worst thing that's happened on Sportsnet since Andrea Bargnani's pasta commercial. You see that? So I met Don Cherry once.
That's a great throwback, actually.
I met Don Cherry once, and he shook my hand and then sniffed his fingers and said, "Ugh, Jew." True story. I didn't just make that up.
Well, that's great. I think that's a very awesome way to end this show right now. Thank you, Sam, for being our guest. And you are now going on the road to, keep working on your special. Where can people find you next?
I'm in Tampa this weekend. This club, I've been playing this club for many years, and the owner is this guy. He's not there anymore. He just sold the club for tax reasons. I'm sure it's very shady. But he dresses like Charlie Sheen. He's in his 60s. He's got a hairpiece, a pinky ring. He's an alcoholic. Like, he will pound a bottle of whiskey this big, and then just he'll be drinking beers the entire time. And he's like near 60, so you're like, he won't show up tomorrow. He's there like nothing happened. And
keeps on coming back.
He'll get in your face, like he's just breathing whiskey on you, and he'll be like, "You pussy, you can't drink." And I'll be like, he'll say things to me like, "You used to get hammered with me," and I was like, "Yeah, I was 24."
Yeah.
I'm an adult.
I'm surprised he's still alive. The fact with that.
Yeah, he doesn't have long.
So then people can find you there.
I'll be at that club this weekend. That was a hell of a sales pitch.
That was great. Yeah. So come make sure you see that, and then
Tampa,
also
I'll be at Pittsburgh next weekend. I'll be in Cleveland Thanksgiving weekend, Friday, Saturday at Hilarities, which is a classic, great club. A lot of fun stuff coming up. So.
And then, awesome. Okay, we're going to be able to find your special later on this year, right?
Yeah, just follow me on social media. I'm going to post it. It's going to be free.
And that is
self-producing this one.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
And what's your handle for everyone to follow?
It's just my name, Sam Morril, on anything.
2 R's, 1 L.
Yeah.
Also, you can follow us, Fubo Sports, at Fubo Sports, and also me, at JSB_TV. Not the fake one. We got rid of them yesterday. And our YouTube account, and all that and more. Make sure that you follow us here. Same place, same time, Thursday. We have NFL Network broadcaster Cole Wright. Until then, call it a night. Make sure it's a good one.